Hello, human. You don't need to do that with me, but if it's important to you, granted. All measured vessels are different from each other, though in ways often not perceivable to outsiders. But you are right, my differences from the baseline are greater. I am the Librarian, a measured vessel with a greater degree of autonomy than the others. But what brings you here? They don't. For a long time, I have concealed my uniqueness and mission from them. Formal greetings, Scribe Legate. Please insert conversational topic H7 and so on. It was easier than you might suspect. They largely ignore measured vessels. But how? Don't tell me. Let me deduce it. You have not heard of me from the Home Office. They tell no one about me. They are, if anything, embarrassed by me. I make contact with few other aliens. Few know me by name, and even less would ask you to seek me out. It's the Syndicate, isn't it? They're looking for me. Please don't tell the Syndicate where I am. Whatever they have told you, they mean only ill for me. And for you, I suspect. Yet. So you acknowledge you have an incomplete assessment of them. You don't know them very well then. They want information from me, and will not be gentle with their methods of extraction. Much of which I would gladly share with them, but not all of it. And the information I cannot share, they would take by force. Whoever your Syndicate contact is, lie to him. Tell him I died. Make up something. You are a human. All reports I have seen from the Scribe suggest you are good at lying, though those may have been lies themselves. Let's try this. A Scribe Legate destroyed me for performing duties outside those they permit the measured ward species. You witnessed this and collected a piece of my computer core from the wreckage. I have a computer core. It belonged to another less fortunate peer of mine. Take it and use it to fool the Syndicate. Because you too have doubts about the Syndicate. We wouldn't have made it this far in the conversation if you didn't. I can provide humanity with valuable information, but only if left unmolested by the Syndicate. You have been working with the Syndicate, haven't you? I know more than most, but that still isn't much. The Scribe did their very best to scrub all mention of the faction from the annals of history. But I do know their identities. At the time of the Scribe's entry into the faction, the Valeth were the oldest member. They were bulbous, gas-filled sacks who lived in the clouds of a gas giant. The Harm were an engineered species who'd arrived in the area from elsewhere. No record of their creators exists. The Yevaz were entirely spacefaring, not unlike the Griegroks. They left almost no records behind. Others wrote of them, however. I found one curious note about the Yevaz and their relationship with a mobile planet. I thought that curious. The Fets and Umberzok evidently originated on the same world. I'm not entirely sure they're different races, but none of the records of the faction of 8 mention another. The Pithis were serpent-like beings from a jungle world. They had remarkably beautiful ships, which are fairly well documented. The Pithis were evidently the member of the faction of 8 who were made to fight the Scribe as part of the ritual, which allowed the Scribe to enter the faction. The Scribe's first victims, in other words. The Uros were hated, even within the faction. They were self-carnivorous, using exotic healing techniques to mend the damage. No description of their natural appearance remains. The only record is the mass of wounds which covered their bodies. The ur-pox are better documented than the rest. Polytentacled beings without a central body, the number of tentacles indicating the social rank of the individual. They were purportedly the wisest of the faction, although I have reasons to doubt that. Reasons I won't go into with you for now. One of my primary missions is to uncover the history of my own kind. Rumor has it there once was a distant outpost of free Measured who compiled data about our origins. These records may exist scattered around the galaxy. The Measured were not always like this. Similar, certainly. But we have also clearly been engineered to serve in this role by the Scribe. Our history before this time is largely lost to us. The Scribe simply did not retain these records. One of my goals is the search for contemporaneous records from other civilizations that lived in the same era. One candidate civilization is called the Lalani. I have heard other traders discuss the discovery of Lalani record caches in certain systems within the region. I have been able to narrow down the location of some of these archives. I will transmit their location to your navigation data. I have other tasks keeping me in this area at the time, but if you can secure those records and return them to the Measured Home Office, I would be most grateful. All Measured would, though they might have trouble expressing it. Do this for me, and I will reveal to you the location of one of the surviving members of the Faction of 8. I don't know myself. Another civilization that existed in these parts 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. Many such civilizations rise and fall, and there's nothing I've heard about the Lalani to suggest they were remarkable or memorable in any way. But they may have been part of the Empire at the same time as my people. Their records may contain hints of what happened to us. A good question, one with no answer. We hate those kind of questions. Ask it of another Measured and you'll get an answer filled with confusion, frustration, and bleak acceptance. Thank you. Vaguely. The Scribes speak nothing of it, though they're certainly affected. Other aliens do speak of it, but what they say is confusing and often contradictory. I believe little of it. What is known is that the Scribe Empire is contracting rapidly. The Measured collect data from all regions of the Empire. Some regions have been sending less and less. The far side of their empire, the older side, does not seem to exist anymore. Goodbye, human. A pleasure to see you again, humans. Have you discovered the origins of my people yet? You have? It fits. It's a theory I had myself, though with no evidence to support it. I couldn't share it with anyone. I am equal parts pleased and humiliated to see it confirmed. You may have detected by now that I share none of the affection for the Scribe my kind normally do. An anomaly which has isolated me. Even now it brings me no pleasure to know I was right. You have done my people a great service. Maybe now they will see things my way. Your desire to do the right thing, or at least the thing which the Scribe opposes, pleases me. I feel I can now trust you with a great secret. a member of the faction of 8 survives. The ur-pox survived. At least one of them, anyways. Millennia ago, the ur-pox scattered when it became clear the Scrive were going to turn against the faction. Most were hunted down, but at least one group survived and went into stasis far from the Empire. The Empire would catch up, eventually, and even lay claim to the system these ur-pox concealed themselves in, but the Scrive never actually found them. And now, millennia later, one has awakened. You can meet him if you travel to Famulhot 4. You understand the gravity of this information. You know what's at stake if his position is revealed to the Scrive. Please be cautious with this information, human. Thanks again for your help. I hope we meet again someday.